two different Lycanroc GX, so he has one of the team-up Lycanroc GX, which I don't think we've really seen much action out of yet.
Interesting.
So
I like that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, when I first read the card, I thought it seemed very good, and I was a little shocked to not see it played at all at Oceania, but, you know, seeing someone like Calvin bust it out, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe this card is actually good, because, you know, it's got a good ability, it's got good attacks, just like the other one does. It just does something a little different.
Yeah, this is interesting. So he kind of cut the Lucario line that has been so popular of late and put in Weavile, put in the other Lycanroc GX, so he's kind of teched in a slightly different direction. And then instead of playing Fighting Energies, he plays one Fighting Energy basic, and then a bunch of Unit Energies to give him the option at Dark for Weavile.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So it should be exciting to see what happens. So Calvin, on his first turn of the game, plays an Ultra Ball, does his search, you know, sees what he's got in his prizes, sees what he's got in his deck, plays that Tapu Lele that he got off the Ultra Ball, grabs the Lily, draws up to 8, benches a second Zorua. Is that a Zorua? No, it's a Grimer in the active. That's the new Grimer from Team Up, I think. Yeah.
Right.
So the art was a little unfamiliar to me. But it looks like, I mean, he's got one basic of most of his, you know, he's got one Zorua, one Lycan, or one Rockruff, and one Grimer. So the world is his oyster next turn.
So he's not playing the Grimer that plays Division because he's not playing a second Grimer, which I think some lists today are playing because Muck is shown to be so powerful in this format.
Yep. I mean, this Jirachi card with its Stellar Wish ability is so powerful that, you know, just evolving into Muck shuts that off, and in turn shuts off, you know, half of the deck of, you know, Pablo, because it's so reliant on the Jirachi getting in there.
Yeah, so Pablo's playing this Pikachu Zekrom list. I think what's interesting about this is he's playing the heavy Jirachi count. So this is a little bit like the list that we saw do well at I guess get like 9th and 16th, and it was the Sam Chen, Roll Ready, you know, Pablo, like all of those kind of X-Files guys were playing this list. What's the difference between this list and what they were playing?
So it looks like Pablo has the 1/1 Jolteon, which I'm not sure that they played. The Jolteon was something I was like really intrigued by in these Lightning decks when I first read it, because I mean both attack, like I think that every attack on that card is so good. The first attack it's like a Jet Punch, it does 30-30. I mean, and it's an Eevee, so you just turn one evolution and then it's ready to go. You know, boosting that into the active kind of reminds you of Buzzwole when it had strong energy, and, you know, Diancie Choice Band. Like,
and you can play with Electro Powers, and that lets you one-shot a Zapdos.
Exactly.
I feel the exact same way. I'm really excited about Jolteon GX. I feel like the 1/1 tech is good in almost every deck.
See, that's what's so cool about these Eevees with the Energy Evolution ability is, like, a 1/1 Eevee line can fit into most decks and be fine, because there's so many different types, and they're also versatile, having like 1 energy attacks or good abilities, or, you know, just some really cool things here. So we see Pablo play that Escape Rope, puts the Zapdos up. Looks like he's getting the knockout on that Rockruff that Calvin sent up with the Escape Rope. Man, I mean, I guess, you know, of the options there, he felt like losing the Rockruff instead of letting the Lele get damaged and potentially giving up 2 prizes, or feeding him his only Zorua. So not a ton of great options there.
Yeah, you know, what's interesting is Calvin's setup, I feel like he was a little bit behind the 8 ball, because he had a choice between sacrificing the Zorua, or, letting him hit into the Lele, or killing the Rockruff with the energy. And even if Pablo had found a switch and killed the Grimer, that would have been terrible as well, because I think you want to get Buck out in this matchup. It turns off the Eevee. It turns off Jirachi. You don't want to give Pablo access to those abilities.
I mean, yeah, arguably that. I mean, I guess it was the best option. And like, if you're Calvin, I feel like he'd rather the Rockruff go down than the Grimer for sure, right?
Right.
So he can't be that bummed about it getting roped back.
Yeah. I think if he'd lost the Grimer, he would have said, "Wow, now I have to find a Ditto, have it survive for a turn, and evolve that to Muck." You know, Pablo's got the ZoroRoc GX. Like, getting Muck out moves the needle in this matchup.
Absolutely. So we see Calvin communication. He gets a Lele, gets a Cynthia, evolves to that Muck that we were just talking about, and plays the Cynthia. All he's missing right now is the ZoroRoc GX to get moving. I mean, he would like another benched Pokemon to, you know, get the one shot on the Zapdos. But I think the Muck was the most important part to make sure that he can really slow Pablo down. The ZoroRoc would be the most important part to keep the Zorua from going down. And I think just like the additional bench Pokemon would be sort of the gravy that he needs to really solidify this aggressive start.
Yeah. Let's see what he draws into.
I think I see an Ultra Ball there, and there's a Zorua.
Yeah,
it
he's
looks
got
like
the Ultra Ball.
Okay, so he got everything he needed. I mean, this is a great opening from Calvin's side.
I'm a little surprised he benched the Zorua before trading, but probably doesn't matter. I mean, he wants more ZoroRoc.
I think that it's objectively probably incorrect to bench before you trade. But Calvin's probably thinking, there's no other basic Pokemon I would bench over this, so why not?
What am I going to draw that I'm going to bench that's not the Zorua?
Exactly. So he's not even going to trade. He's just going to take the knockout.
Interesting.
I guess everything in his hand is probably stuff he wants to keep.
Right.
We see Pablo pushing up that Jirachi, whose ability is shut off because of that Alolan Muck.
Yeah, I mean, Pablo's got a lot of cards in hand, but not a lot of strong, he really wishes he could play Jirachi right now, right? And
absolutely.
he's got the Jirachi on the bench because he was like, okay, you're going to kill that thing, and then I'm going to get Jirachi.
So Pablo's hand has been kind of secretive, so it looks like he has a Nest Ball, he has a Guzman, he has a Lightning Energy. So he has, the things he needs to get a knockout and to get started. He could pick off that Zorua. If he has an Electro Power, he could actually, or if he has 2 Electro Powers, he could take the Muck, but that might be asking a little much this early without Jirachi access.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's got the cards to get there.
Cool. So we do see him grab that Zapdos. He's putting it down.
I saw you at Guzma. Does he have another supporter in hand?
I think I saw a Lily, but I'm not 100% certain.
He's got a lot of cards in hand there. He's got a Zapdos. He's going to attach. He's going to try and thin his hand out. Yeah, I see the Lily. But he's only going to be a Lily for...
So he's taking up the Muck anyway. Maybe he's thinking, Calvin's hand is so small. Yeah. This Muck has 4 retreat. I can just hit it for 80, and he'll probably miss.
Right.
And, I mean, honestly, Calvin's hand is definitely not built to move that thing, so... Good stuff. So we see Calvin draw. It looks like he's got the Weavile. He's got the energies to make it attack. I guess he's going to have to trade once and just see if he can hit a Guzma off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely looking for a switch effect, and I think Guzma is the only one that these ZoroRoc lists run.
I believe it is as well, yeah.
He's got Acerolas, but...
I mean, he could Acerola it. I mean, it's unfortunate because it does give Pablo the abilities back for a turn, but it does, it resets the Muck, and it lets him take the knockout on the Zapdos. So.
Way better than taking the knockout.
Yeah. So, I mean... Oh, that's not an Acerola. That was... Oh, that is a Guzma. It is a Guzma. It's the new art.
Guzma.
It's the new art.
I don't recognize it either.
Oh, man. So he did get it off the trade.
That card could have been anything.
Yeah, man. Oh, no. That art. It's all these different arts. They're messing with me. I mean, I had the Grimer mess me up a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty good. Okay. So, back-to-back Guzmas from Pablo. We see him bench the Pikachu and Zekrom, attaches the Lightning. I mean, this... Honestly, Pablo is dealt with the Muck pretty well. I mean, he's a little behind in the prize trade now, but it's gone. So he's got his basic abilities back. That Pikachu and Zekrom is almost ready to party. I mean, not the worst thing in the world.
He doesn't have another... He could easily get it powered up to hit for 150 next turn. All he has to do is find a Tapu Koko Prism Star. Because the Muck is no longer online.
Good stuff.
And an energy switch, and you're ready to go.
All right, so we see Calvin attach the energy to the ZoroRoc GX and plays that Lily for 6, a full 6. And I don't think he's traded yet either, so he's going to be able to fill the hand up this turn. What do you think about him putting the unit on the ZoroRoc? I believe that we've seen him go down... I think he traded a unit, and I think he lost one off of that Rockruff, so I think he only has 1 left, if I'm remembering correctly. So, assuming the fighting energy's in his deck, he's only got 2 of those energies left, so he's going to be spread pretty thin on using his non-ZoroRoc attackers.
I assume that he's assuming that Pablo is going to regulate how many Jirachis he benches and play around the Weavile, so just having the Weavile out as opposed to actually powering it up is going to threaten how Pablo plays.
Yep.
But the odds that he actually attacks with the Weavile is really low.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so we see...
Also, if you get the Muck out, those abilities don't count, right? Yeah. So they have no abilities.
So
it's just like Garbodor, where no abilities on the board.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Yeah,
right.
That makes sense.
If Calvin's going to play the Muck line, he's like, okay, we're not going to worry about those abilities on the board. So the Weavile's more of a menace than a actual
Yeah.
threat to take prizes.
That makes sense. It's there to keep Pablo on his toes.
Right.
Taking out Muck doesn't solve all of his problems. It just solves that one problem.
right. You can't fill your bench with Jirachis and like try to go after the Muck to do Jirachi things and think it's going to be okay.
That makes sense. Good stuff. So we see Pablo playing that Erica's Hospitality, gets a full 6 cards off of it. I mean, if you're Pablo, in a perfect world, you hit Thunder Mountain, Lightning, maybe something to attach some energy to, and a switch card. I don't see all of those cards in his hand, so maybe we'll see a bit of a slower moving progression.
Does the Ultra Ball Tapu Koko Prism Star here and use that to get all the energy on the board?
You could do that as well, yeah. Oh, and the Tapu Koko Prism Star is in hand already.
Oh, he's already got it in hand?
He does have it in hand, so maybe he's just getting something else to attach energy to. Maybe just another Zapdos is what we'll see. So Pablo's doing the deck search.
Although if he's got so if he's got the Tapu Koko Prism Star, which he's got, he just bench that, activate it, attach to the Pikachu from the Tapu Koko, attach from hand, and you're ready to go.
No, yeah, that's true. Oh, so we see him going for the Jirachi.
And he needs an energy switch or a switch effect to get the Tapu Lele out of the active.
Good stuff. So Calvin picking up that big boy, giving him a quick read.
New format, new cards. Let's just take a gander.
Absolutely. Good stuff. So Pablo putting the Jirachi in hand, putting the Jirachi down, plays the switch, going into it. All right. So let's see what he's got here.
I gotta tell you, I don't know if you guys saw this in round 1, but for me, I'm sure you didn't because Isaiah's played this deck so much. I always forget to put the Jirachi to sleep. I'm just like, you should just assume it's always asleep.
Yeah. He's a sleepy guy. He's always sleeping. I'll let you know if he's not sleeping. It's weird if he's not sleeping.
Yeah. My retreat is not going to be related to whether or not he's asleep, and he's not going to stay in the active, so let's not worry too much about whether he's asleep. But that's why I'm bad. Yeah, here goes Tapu Koko Prism Star. He's going to power up everybody. He's got the escape board. So he's set up to have a big turn here. If he has 2 Electro Powers in hand, or does he have Choice Band Electro Power? I think he has a Choice Band, but I don't think he has an Electro Power.
Falling just a bit short of that one.
So close. If Calvin Acerola is here, it's going to be tears.
Oh, man. Oh, so he's going for the GX attack. Oh, so he goes for the GX attack anyway, just so he can get the one-shot. Yeah, he doesn't care about the extra energy effect. He just wants to take the one-shot with Tag Bolt GX.
Right.
I mean, if he could snipe the 170, that would be great. But he's just thinking, hey, I'm going to take 2 prizes with this, and now I have access to full blitz with a choice band, which does 180, which is knocks out that Lele on the bench next turn. And he got the Guzma off of the Jirachi. So he actually has game in hand, unless Calvin can somehow deal with this. This Pikachu and Zekrom GX here.
So could he Trickster GX here?
He could, yeah. If he hits the other unit energy, he could Trickster the tag. I mean, so
I don't know if that really moves the needle.
Yeah, he could, but even with a choice band, it's 230, which is still just. Oh, he has Devoured Field. So yeah, he could for a knockout. If he gets the other unit here, he would, in a choice band, he can knock out the Pikachu and Zekrom.
Yeah, so he needs an energy. He doesn't need a unit, right? Just
Trickster takes 2 darks.
2 darks?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. So he needs unit choice band.
He mallowed. So if he gets unit choice band, doesn't he just win? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he wins the game with unit choice band if they're in his deck. So there's the unit. Is there a choice band? Oh man, it's hard to look through his deck. So let's look at Calvin's. Looking at his list, he does play 2 choice bands. I don't believe we've seen him.
Puts the Lycanroc down.
I don't think we've actually seen him use one yet. So maybe he just has both prized, or maybe he traded one and we missed it, or discarded them, or something of the sort.
I think he's got bad prizes.
Yeah, that could be it. There's clearly something I'm missing over here because he doesn't have access to those choice bands. So you see him trade away the Sneasel. He gets those 2. Oh man, this is a wild ride.
That is just super unfortunate.
Yep, so he's taking the Jirachi. Man, oh man. Yeah, I guess he had to have.
Yeah. And Pablo shows him the Guzman.
Oh, yep, there's the choice band. So his prize was a choice band, and one of the other prizes was, like, the prize he took was a choice band.
Yeah,
and
so
in those
two choice bands prize, and the last 3 prizes.
Both of them, man, oh man.
Calvin says, man, should have had it. Could have had it, would have had it.
Man, that's unfortunate. Wow. It has the mallow and everything. Both choice bands were sitting there, just taunting him.
That's the kind of hot RNG that Pokemon loves.
Yeah. That's, man, those kind of stories are never that savory.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I mean, honestly, I think that both players played that fine throughout that game. It seemed like Pablo did a pretty good job of going after that muck, taking it out as soon as possible. Calvin did what he could, but in the end, those choice bands, man, they just caught up with him. Yeah,
you know what? For me, that was some fascinating commentating opportunity because I thought we were going to see the first Trickster GX I've ever seen in my life.
Really? You've never seen any Tricksters, huh? I haven't gotten tricky.
I have never seen someone say, "Let's go all in on the darks on my ZoroRoc. Let's do it."
Yep.
That was almost the super hot and spicy plays there that the people love.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God! If he had pulled that off, people would have loved it.
Oh yeah. Well, we do still have a whole nother game, so
yeah, there's still opportunities for trickstering.
Absolutely.
And so I think the downside is I think Pablo saw the threat now and recognizes that's a thing.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So he's gonna be thinking about the Trickster GX going forward and how that plays into his decision making.
Yep.
He really lucked out there.
Yeah, because I mean, at least for me, I didn't totally realize that Calvin could return one shot that with Trickster until it kind of after he had played the Mallow. I'm like, oh, he can't. Whoa. And maybe Pablo had the same realization. Maybe he's aware of it already. I mean, this guy tests a lot. He's really familiar with the game, so maybe he knows. And maybe that's kind of when we saw him going off into the Pikachu and Zekrom, he wasn't playing super fast. He was kind of hesitant about some of the stuff he was doing. So maybe he was aware that was a possibility, but he's just like, what else can I? What else is there? Yeah. He's like, this is all I got. It's either this or I lose the game. This is the only thing I can do. Just hope that Calvin can't pull it off. And as soon as he saw the Mallow, I'm sure he was like, oh, dang it.
Although I think it was definitely one of the things that Calvin is kind of theoretically reaping the benefits of for the tournament is he's playing a deck that's a little off meta, right? He's not playing the Lucarios, he's playing the Weaviles, he's playing the Unit Energies, he plays 3 Devoured Fields, so he reached for that output a ton more. That's his stadium.
Yep.
I actually like that because I feel like the Viridian Forest too easy on the opponent, right? I mean, I feel like every time I put the Viridian Forest down, my opponent's like, yeah, let's Viridian Forest.
Yeah. They're just like, oh, I can use that too, and it's going to be great. Yeah.
So here, since he only plays the one fighting basic, he's like, I'm not going to play that.
Yep.
But if somebody else plays it, I'll get my fighting energy into my hand. But after that, it's all my stadium, my terms. I'm going to reap the benefits here.
Yep.
Which I like.
Oh yeah. I actually, I think I agree with that. Because Viridian Forest is great in specific decks that maybe really need that extra energy search. Something like Ultra Necrozma, where it plays the 2 different types, and you could really use getting the
Totally love it in those Malamar decks.
Yeah, exactly.
You're trying to discard energy, you're trying to find more energy.
But, something in ZoroArc, it's like, do you really need this, or is it just a cool thing that is also a counter stadium?
Right. So, people are saying, it helps you find your fighting energies. And I get that, but people weren't complaining that they couldn't find their fighting energies that much. Put a 5th fighting energy in.
Yep.
And then you're not playing a forest, a stadium that benefits the other guy.
Makes sense.
Let's play one-sided.
Right. Cool.
It's too fair a stadium.
Right, yeah. Too fair a stadium, that's funny. All right, so Calvin starting this round off, this game 2. See him play that nest ball. First thing he, grabs that Grimer immediately, doesn't even hesitate a little bit. So looking at Calvin's hand, it looks like a hand that would be super great, next turn, because I think I saw 2 or 3 evolutions in the hand, so, it's pretty good. He just needs a lot of other basics down to be able to do anything. So maybe he's thinking, because he has the Lily as well, I'm pretty sure, so he would draw 5 with it. So maybe he's thinking, I'm just going to get a Cynthia and throw these back and see if I can get more basics. Oh, he's going to fail it. All right. So he fails the Lily. Maybe he's like, all right, I'll keep the ZoroArc and I'll just draw 5. but does put the Lele into play, which is a little...
You know, one of the things that... So my son's playing ZoroRoc Lucaria today, and I think the 60th card that we were debating was that 4th Lily, which is what Calvin's playing, versus cutting the 4th Lily for an Elms. That's a situation where we'd love to play an Elms, right?
Right.
Because we were kind of saying, the problem with assuming you're playing these really heavy ball counts that Stefan played, and just assuming you're going to draw into lots of ball cards to get set up, is every once in a while you have a bunch of stage ones clunking up your hand. This is that moment, right? I mean, if he could have elmed for like a bunch of Zoroas, dream setup, right?
Yep, exactly.
Instead, he's unable to get a Zoroa out, except for the one in the active. If he does a switch and takes a knockout, which he's going to do, I assume. That's going to be rough on actually getting set up to play this game, right?
So, Calvin off that Lily, he did get 2 more basics, which was nice. Not one of them. He got the Ditto, which is like not a Zoroa, but is a Zoroa, so it's fine. Gives him sort of that cushion to, you know, any of these one-ofs that get knocked out. He can evolve into the other one if he needs to. So, you know, not the best setup, but, you know, he's fine. He's cooking. He's doing something.
The downside of the Ditto is once you evolve that to ZoroArc, that's one less opportunity to get the muck out.
Yep, that's one less, So like, you know, it immediately is now Calvin's back to 1 Grimer if that's evolved. So Pablo plays that Viridian Forest card that we were just talking about, discards a Lightning, which will be nice for the
Tapu Koko.
Tapu Koko is able to get another Lightning. Also gives him his first deck search of the game, so he can really go through and see everything he's working with, kind of figure out his prizes, see what's there, see what's missing, know the goods and the bads. So if you're Pablo, I mean, I feel like what you're really, really wanting on this first turn of the game is to get a knockout with that Zapdos on the Zorua or on a Guzma with the Grimer.
So he failed the Viridian because he already had the second Lightning in hand, right? Good times.
Oh, yeah.
So he knew he was going to Lily. He's like, let's maximize the amount of cards we draw. I don't want that extra energy clogging up my hand.
So he gets 5. We see him draw 2 energy, so I guess it's a good thing he didn't get that Lightning. He's already got so many others. So he's kind of looking through, puts the escape board on. He has the escape board on the Koko, has an escape rope. There's the Pikachu and Zekrom.
The escape board doesn't. Is that a 1 energy switch? Oh, it is. Oh, good.
Yep, it is. So, you know, he's got everything he needs to take the knockout on this Zero, which is quite nice. He goes ahead and Lost Zones that, which is interesting. Only gets the 1 Lightning. Maybe he's thinking, you know, there's a pretty good chance that the Zapdos just gets knocked out. Maybe he's thinking that Calvin will just push up the Ditto, evolve it into a ZoroArc, get 2 bench Pokemon, evolve, DC, knockout. So he's like, I need to get this Pikachu and Zekrom ready now so that it can, you know, party next turn.
Right.
Alright, so that Ditto does go up. Calvin kind of thinking he's got that ZoroArc, which is nice. Oh man, he did have the second ZoroArc, which I'm sure he would have loved to use. Honestly, he has the Bright Look in hand with the Lycanroc. I can't see what supporters he's working with, but I think that there's a world where he just brings the Pikachu and Zekrom up and tries to smack it for a lot of damage.
Step 1 is trade, right?
Yeah, depending on what the rest of his hand is.
Then an Ultra Ball.
So he gets rid of that Lycanroc, the team-up one, for the Muck. Okay. Getting that bad boy out turn 2, just like he did last game. He's thinking, you know, I'm going to use this. Maybe, you know, I was thinking, oh, Pablo using that Koko, like one reason is because he just wants to get the energy on the Pikachu and Zekrom now in case the Zapdos goes down. But another reason is because he's got to assume that Muck's coming down on the next turn, right? So
right.
I got to get it set up now.
Yeah, that's I think the real insight into what's driving his behavior there.
Yep.
He was like, I got to use it while I got it because after this, no more fun times.
All right, so Pablo is going to bring that up, and then Lily for 6. Good stuff. So Calvin's definitely looking for DC here.
Now, the downside of this play is if Pablo's got an energy switch, he can power up the Pikachu in 1 turn. I don't know if Pablo has a way to power up that Pikachu in 1 turn if he just kills the Zapdos and takes the energy off the board.
Yep. No, that is a good point. Because, I mean, you know, the Lightning decks, they have the Tapu Koko for acceleration, but that's about it. And since Calvin was only able to put it on 1 thing, he only got the 1 energy. So, you know, if Calvin is able to put him down to only 1 in play, then, you know, it's either the Thunder Mountain or he's not attacking with Pikachu Zekrom next turn.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the line of play I might have thought about was play the other Lycanroc, knock the energy off the Pikachu, KO the Zapdos. and
So
let's see what you do.
That
right?
Lycanroc only takes it off the active.
Oh, it only takes it
Yeah,
off the
yeah,
active.
yep.
Ah, daggers.
Yep.
What we need is an escape rope. Let's go.
Right. All right, so Calvin gets a DC. He attaches to the. Okay, so he's putting that down because he wants to get the 120 here. He really wants to pressure Pablo to say, "Hey, I might two-shot you. What are you gonna do about it?"
Yeah.
Good stuff. So, pretty good turn 2 from Calvin. Gets another Zorua down. Gets the Lycanroc and the Muck out. Attacks 120. I mean, what else can a guy ask for? You know.
Yeah, if you're Pablo, what's the line of play now? He's got the rope right at the top, because I'm thinking you want to escape rope as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, get the Pikachu back to the bench. You got to figure out what your plan is for that.
No, that makes sense. So Pablo's just thinking. I mean, he's got such a big hand. He's got so many options. So, you know, I'm sure he's just really making sure that he's doing the best thing that he can do on this turn to give him the best shot at winning.
So one of the things that I think is interesting, and we saw in our testing when we were looking at Pikachu and Zekrom is, I mean, the lists that have done well so far have not played healed cards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the absence of an Acerola or a Max Potion. I mean, if he could Max Potion right now, you'd probably be saying, oh yeah, I'm going to totally escape rope Max Potion and kind of restart. Do you have any strong opinions on how that works out? Have you tested this much?
So I think that these decks are just so aggressive that you just kind of want to commit to being aggressive. The idea with not playing those cards is that you should always be ahead anyway, so losing, like getting your stuff knocked out is not the end of the world because you're aggressive and should be winning the exchange no matter what. So I think that that's the logic there. And we do see Pablo just dropping the Vulcan or getting him Energy Switch Lightning, the exact cards he needs to attack with this tag team on this turn. Now the question is, does he have one of the 6 damage modifying cards from his deck in his hand? And he did. He's got them all. All right. So this lets him use full Blitz. He doesn't even have to use Tag Bolt GX here. The GX attack is saved. Oh man, I'm sure Pablo just wants another Pikachu and Zekrom down. If he had the second one, he'd be cooking. But you know, he's just gonna go for the full Blitz.
Just go all in for the full Blitz next turn and try to win, right? He says Viva Guzma, there's 2 Lele's down. Let's win.
Yep. No, that's great. So Pablo
he doesn't even need 4 prizes because he just took 2 more.
Yeah. So actually, Pablo doesn't get any energy off of that. That's interesting that he didn't even get one to put on the Zapdos. But maybe he's thinking, yeah, I got 3 in my hand. What do I need to get him out of my deck for? You know?
Is he scared of the Lele play it back at him? Man.
Yeah.
I think he's just assuming that Pikachu's going to go down. He doesn't want to lose the energy.
Right? Yeah. Does Full Blitz only attach to itself?
No, Full Blitz you can attach to either one.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying that I imagine that he would probably just get 1 out and put it on the Zapdos, just so the Zapdos already
that would have
has
been
it.
a good play.
Just so it already has the energy.
That's probably a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
And you can always like do energy switch tricks.
Yeah.
Later, if you're unhappy with that in some way.
Because now that Calvin drops the Judge, you know, that now that Lightning Energy is 1 more card that Pablo needs to get. I mean, he's got the Reinforced in play, but you know, maybe what if all 4 of those cards are good and he can't discard anything?
Yeah, and thinning your deck by 1 Lightning is not like gonna make or break your game. It only helps, right?
Probably, yeah. So
makes it easier to find the energy switch. Like that's all good.
So we actually see. I'm pretty sure Calvin missed the double colorless here. Unless that's. Oh, he did get it. He got it off the trade.
Yeah.
Trade, saving him by the skin.
He doesn't
have the basic. That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't have the Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, I think if you assume that Pablo doesn't have another Electro Power, that's faulty. So you can't just sit here. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you got no plays, you got no plays.
Yeah, that choice on the Lycanroc coming back to haunt him. You know, had he put it on the ZoroRoc earlier, then he could have just smacked it for 150 to give himself a little bit more of a cushion. Because, you know, now that Choice Band's been on that Lycanroc for 2 turns and hasn't done anything for him. And, I mean, this Pikachu and Zekrom is so aggressive that it's not really letting Calvin get that extra attachment back on a Rockruff to set up the Lycanroc for future turns.
Yeah.
So he just kind of has to keep using the ZoroRoc's 1 energy or 1 attachment attack because he doesn't have time for anything else. So Bill Power Pad, 2 supporters back in. It was a Judge and a Lily, I believe. I guess he's gonna have to put this DC down, right? Interesting.
He's gonna retreat.
Yes. Okay, that's So I think.
I mean, the problem is he can play an escape rope and
There's two. Yeah, there's four two prizes on the bench.
And Viridian Force for an energy and basically kill anything, right?
So we see Pablo use that Viridian Forest, searches his deck for a lightning energy. There it is. So, let's think. I mean, Pablo definitely wants to get a Guzma here. Likely won't have it, just because he got judged and he doesn't have access to any of his cool ability searches. But it's a little tough to see his hand. So, you know, he could really have anything in there. He doesn't shuffle his deck off as a cut, so he's got a Vulcan. So there's, you know, he had the Electro Power to take the ZoroRoc out had Calvin left it in the active position. So, you know, if you're Calvin, you got to be feeling a little good that you were able to avoid that. All right, there's a Nest Ball, and there's the Zorora GX. Okay, so maybe he's looking for free retreat.
I wonder if he's thinking he's going to get free retreat, but the Muck is on the board.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe he just wants it for... maybe he's about to knock the Muck out, right? Maybe he just wants it to use after the Muck is done. Cool.
Oh, okay, yeah, full blitzes, and he's going to power up the ZoroRoc, so he can take prize on Tapu Lele.
Yep. That makes sense. I mean, this is looking really good for Pablo. Yeah. Calvin missing that extra bench Pokemon is really coming back to haunt him.
Yeah, as you said, the assumption that he would be able to draw into a Pokemon, while a perfectly reasonable assumption, really devastates when he kind of puts the choice band on the Lycanroc.
He's only got access to one trade, draws 2 cards, gets the Judge he shuffled back last turn, also gets, I think it was a Pokemon. So he's able to use that.
So he's going to get a basic out. But he needs 2 basics now, right?
Yeah, he needs 2 basics and another DCE.
And a DCE.
And I think the only supporter in his hand is a Judge, so...
Yeah.
So what, he needs basic DC off of this Judge for 4? Without trade.
Right.
Yeah. Man, we're really seeing how aggressive this tag team Pikachu and Zekrom can go. I mean, it's so big and it hits so hard that you kind of are on a really short clock to answer it, or else, you know, game ends real fast.
Yeah, I mean, I think the crazy thing is with the Electro Powers, hitting 210 so easy.
Yeah.
Right, and taking knockouts. Calvin's like, I got nothing.
Yep. That
whiffs the DCE and scoops it up.
So we see that Pikachu and Zekrom taking a quick 2-0. I mean, that thing really went in both games. You're really seeing the power of these massive tag team cards. That was cool.